Look, I don't think anybody needs me to rehash the Sophie Cunningham story. Obviously, the fever trade for her in the offseason. She has that moment with J.C. Sheldon in that Sun game, protecting Caitlin Clark or enforcing laying down the law, if you will, that leads to just an explosion in popularity because she came off like such a badass, and obviously because, she is a badass, and because people were desperate or yearning for someone to step up for Caitlin Clark in that way. And there is the popularity that comes from the proximity of being around Caitlin Clark and playing for the Indiana Fever.
The comment seemed casual, almost offhand, but it immediately caught everyone's attention. "We need to get you to a Fever game," she said. What sounded like a simple remark quickly turned into something much bigger. Fans took it as a strong hint that Sophie Cunningham could soon be back on the practice court. Nothing had been announced officially, but the message was hard to miss. After weeks of silence, that one line suggested a return many fans have been hoping for. It felt like the start of a new phase, one that could reinforce her long-term impact and quickly spark another wave of online buzz. In a quiet offseason, that unexpected comment said more than anyone expected.
Up for Caitlin Clark in that way. And there is the popularity that comes from the proximity of being around Caitlin Clark and playing for the Indiana Fever, something that Sophie Cunningham has capitalized on. Not to mention, she is a good part of the team, a key part of the team, somebody that can do a lot of things, can shoot the basketball, can handle it a little, can play multiple positions. She gets hurt towards the end of the season, which was another blow, but fit in well with the core four, as I put them, of Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Lexi Hull, and just felt like a member of the team.
A seemingly casual comment on a podcast immediately set social media buzzing. Why would a celebrity guest hint at something millions were already wondering about a star free agent? It didn't feel like speculation. It felt like an insider slip, a signal that plans were already in motion. The WNBA rumor mill went wild, analyzing every word and connecting the dots, all pointing to Sophie Cunningham returning to the Indiana Fever. Online, fans reacted instantly, a mix of surprise and excitement, as the pieces began falling into place for her long-awaited comeback.
And Lexi Hull, and just felt like a member of the team going forward. With that said, she is a free agent. And Sophie has hinted at, or at least alluded to the idea of testing the water, saying she's, not a dumb blonde. She'll see what's out there for her. And she talked about wanting a bigger contract so she can be more secure in her living situation and, everything that comes along with a contract. And some people took that as a little bit of negotiating, whatever. Now, she has this podcast, this Show Me Something podcast, where she talks about the Fever and Caitlin Clark and all that stuff. Quite a bit on there.
To grasp the impact of this leak, remember Sophie Cunningham's rise to viral fame. She quickly became known for fearless defense and unwavering loyalty, a reputation built in a single unforgettable moment. She wasn't just a player. She became a standout figure the league needed. Her presence on the court became a symbol of dedication, drawing attention far beyond typical basketball fans. It wasn't only about points or stats. It was about standing up and giving everything on the court, a quality that resonated with fans everywhere.
Whatever. Now, she has this podcast, this Show Me Something podcast, where she talks about the Fever and Caitlin Clark and all that stuff. Quite a bit on there, but they had a guest on this last one, and it wasn't an episode that made a lot of news because it doesn't really jive specifically with, the audience that I'm speaking to, a basketball audience. But Meredith Marks, who I looked up and is listed as a businesswoman and someone from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, was on. And this was the clip. You got to listen to the end.
I think for anyone who doesn't know, part of the whole reason this trio is happening right now.
The moment everyone remembers is the infamous Sun Game incident with J.C. Sheldon. Cunningham didn't hesitate. She stepped up to defend Caitlin Clark with total intensity. She wasn't just playing. She was setting a boundary that echoed throughout the league. It wasn't planned. It was instinct, a raw, unscripted display of protective fire that instantly won over millions. Clips of her defiance went viral, cementing her reputation as Clark's steadfast protector.
As a businesswoman and someone from the the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City was on, and this was the clip. You gotta listen to the end.
I think for anyone who doesn't know, part of the whole reason this trio is happening right now is because Meredith and I sat next to each other at the US Open, and I was asking her life story. I always ask her like Cubs or White Sox, and you're like not really into like many big team sports, but I love the WNBA.
I'm not really a sports girl in general. Like I'm not, but I went last year to the championship game, and it was the coolest experience I'd ever had in this.
The public reaction was instant and intense. In a league often criticized for soft defense, fans were craving someone to protect Caitlin Clark with real toughness. Sophie became that player, showing the courage and intensity everyone wanted to see. Her actions struck a chord, fulfilling a desire for justice on the court and turning her into an overnight fan favorite. This wasn't just about the game. It was about the story fans wanted to see. Sophie delivered, becoming the hero of countless highlight reels.
Sports, but I love the WNBA.
I'm not really a sports girl in general. Like I'm not, but I went last year to the championship game, and it was the coolest experience I'd ever had in the sports world. And I mean, I do love sports with horses. That I do actually do a little bit more.
Ooh.
I do like horse racing or equestrian, any of that I do love. But in terms of like watching a basketball game with these women who are insanely incredible and rock stars, I am a huge supporter. I can't say I watch every game or anything because, like I said, I don't watch a ton.
Sophie's rise in popularity wasn't just about her toughness. Her close connection to Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest star, played a big role. Playing alongside Clark for the Indiana Fever put Sophie directly in the spotlight. She leveraged this Caitlin Clark effect to boost her own profile. It wasn't luck. It was a mix of her skill, her memorable presence on the court, and the massive attention around her superstar teammate. The result was undeniable, a phenomenon in the making.
Supporter. I can't say I watch every game or anything because, like I said, I don't watch a ton of sports, but
You have a life. I get it.
I love it. Like, love it. I'm like such a fan. You have no idea.
Oh, well, thank you. We need to get you to a Fever game.
Need to get you to a Fever game. Look, I'm not going to read too much into it. I'm not going to say that indicates for certain that Sophie Cunningham will be back on the Indiana Fever. It's just an offhanded comment. But, you know, I think it reinforces a little bit what we all thought, right? And what we.
Despite her rising fame and value, one question hung over Sophie Cunningham's future: free agency. She was about to hit the open market, leaving Fever fans wondering, would she stay with the team that made her a star, or would another franchise swoop in? It wasn't just about a contract. It was about loyalty, opportunity, and the potential shakeup of a fan-favorite duo. The offseason turned into a tense waiting game, with every hint or rumor about her next move dissected and debated endlessly.
Which is that the intent from both parties is for Sophie Cunningham to be back on the Indiana Fever. That has to be, you know, the goal, the plan. I mean, the Fever posted this around Christmas time, for the holidays. A little Soph on a loaf. That was the lead image there. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull, the caddies for Caitlin Clark, playing golf. She fits in. She's become a star. She gets along with the star. I think it's in the stars for Sophie Cunningham to remain a Fever girl.
Sophie fueled the speculation herself with bold, straightforward statements. She openly said she wasn't a dumb blonde and wanted to explore her options. This wasn't subtle negotiation. It was a clear declaration of her worth and a desire for a more secure financial future. She emphasized wanting a bigger contract and stability in her living situation, leaving fans curious about her next move. Reactions to her comments were mixed. Some saw it as standard free agent strategy, a way to boost her market value. Others worried it signaled she might leave the Fever. This wasn't just about money. It was Sophie asserting her value in a league where contracts are closely watched. The story of her future became a tense tug-of-war for Fever fans, balancing hope with apprehension. Throughout the offseason, Sophie stayed connected to the Fever and Caitlin Clark through her podcast, Show me something. The platform allowed her to discuss her former team and superstar teammate, keeping fans engaged. It wasn't just a side project. It was strategic, keeping her name and presence in WNBA conversations. The episode that sparked the leaked footage buzz featured an unexpected guest, Meredith Marks, better known for her business work and her role on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Marks wasn't a typical guest for a basketball show, which immediately drew attention. This wasn't just a regular interview. It hinted at something bigger. It was a crossover moment, bringing a whole new audience into WNBA conversations and setting the stage for a bombshell that would shake the league. Marks herself admitted she wasn't a typical sports fan, which made her enthusiasm for the WNBA even more striking. She shared her favorite moment at the championship game and praised the incredible women of the league. This wasn't a forced endorsement. It was genuine admiration from someone outside the usual sports bubble, adding authenticity and making her later comment hit even harder. As the conversation continued, Marks emphasized her passion for the league. She called herself a huge supporter, admitting she couldn't watch every game due to her busy life, but clearly meant it. "I love it. Like, love it," she said, her excitement sincere. Her genuine fandom set a warm, positive tone leading up to the moment that would send shockwaves. Then came the seemingly casual remark. Looking at Sophie Cunningham, Marks said, "We need to get you to a fever game." On the surface, it sounded like a friendly suggestion, but the implication was huge. It wasn't a question. It was a statement, almost as if Cunningham's return was already decided, known only to insiders. The internet collectively paused. Why was this so explosive? It wasn't just a casual invitation for a free agent. It felt like an unofficial confirmation that negotiations were far along, far beyond what the public knew. The comment suggested a shared understanding. Sophie's future was still tied to Indiana. It wasn't just a hint. It felt like a soft leak from her practice camp, an accidental reveal of a closely guarded secret that instantly went viral. The podcast host downplayed it as offhand, but even he admitted it reinforced what fans already hoped, that both Sophie and the Fever intended for her to return. With the long off-season wait, that casual remark became a powerful signal, making the leaked footage feel almost official. The Fever had subtly hinted at it, too. Around Christmas, they shared a holiday image featuring Sophie Cunningham alongside Sofa and Lexi Hall. It wasn't just a festive greeting. It was a public nod to her place in the core team, even during free agency, showing she remained part of the Fever family. Beyond the viral moments, Sophie is a genuinely valuable player. She fits seamlessly into the team's core alongside Aya Wilson, Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Lexi Hull. Her versatility, shooting, ball handling, and playing multiple positions makes her a key piece of strategy. Even a late-season injury didn't lessen her impact or her importance to the team. Sophie wasn't just a personality. She was a key contributor. Her return isn't only popular with fans. It's strategically important for the Fever's success. She became a star not just because of Caitlin Clark, but because she clicks so well with her. That on- and off-court chemistry is invaluable. The image of Sophie and Lexi Hull caddying for Clark on the golf course showed just how integral and beloved she is as a teammate. It's not just about talent. It's about cohesion, mutual respect, and a shared vision. Everything points to one truth. Sophie Cunningham is destined to remain a Fever player. Even without leaked practice footage, Meredith Marks' podcast comment, combined with the subtle signs from the Fever, acted as an unofficial confirmation of her imminent return. That offhand remark went viral because it tapped into fans' deep desire to see Sophie continue her journey with Indiana, a journey that promises more standout moments and star power. Her comeback isn't just expected. It's practically confirmed, setting the stage for a dramatic, fan-fueled return to the WNBA spotlight.